In my last Power Query challenge video, we converted a table that looked like this, which was basically 3 chunks per person, and each row related to a group of people, but their names, email addresses are laid out horizontally. We took that and we converted it into this. And I'll just briefly show you the step. I'm not going to go into it. You can watch the other video first if you're interested in how I did this step by step using the user interface, right? Clicking buttons. And this was the number of steps that I ended up with. Quite a lot, group bys and other things. And thanks to those of you who sent in slightly simpler versions, avoiding the group by and using an integer divide instead, which is a nice little trick. Okay, however, a good few people, I'm going to name a few of you, Bill Size, Raimundo, JS9547, and Alejandro Simon. Thanks, folks, because you sent in some really nice short, codey versions. And I'm going to share with you sort of how I can explain it and how you can do it in just like 2 or 3 lines of code. All right, let's go. So here we go. I'm going to right click on my data and go to get data from table/range. Okay, I'm just going to change this to my output 2. I don't need this change type step at this point, so I'm going to delete it. And here we go. Here's the first step. So I'm going to click on the FX just to add a new step. And all I want to do is turn this into rows. So there's a 2 rows. There we go. Table 2 rows. Click on that. And then use the shift shuffle. So shift down, shift 9. And then I press end just to get my cursor to the end and press enter. Okay. So what that does, let's take a look. It creates a little list. So every row, this was 1 row, is now this sort of list of items, like a column essentially. Okay. Then we've got another little list here, which was the 2nd row, and that's the 3rd row of data, and so on. Awesome. From there, I actually want to combine those lists into one big list. Okay, so I'm going to go into list combine. So list, there we go, list combine, and I'm going to go shift down, shift 9, go to the end, press enter. So here we have one big list. Almost like unpivoting really for a single column. Everything's now one single column. What I want to do now is these are all groups of 3. So I'm going to bucket them into 3s, and then I can just basically convert each row back into a table. So each little list of 3 becomes a row, and that gives me the answer I'm after. Okay, so here we go. You could just start wrapping this again, but I quite like the separate steps. Okay, you could do one mega formula, but let me rename this as sort of, let's go, that can be to list. All right, and I'm just going to click the FX, or if you're down here, you can right click and say insert step after. Essentially does the same thing, but given I'm going to be writing up here anyway, I might as well have clicked the FX. Right, so what do we do here? Well, you can use list split to split this into 3 separate lists. So list, remember never type the full stop when you're writing M. So list split, shift shuffle, so shift down, shift 9. Okay, and what do we want to split it into? Buckets of 3. Okay, so here we have the 3 items for Alan. We then have the 3 items for Amy, and we then have the 3 items for Alex, etc. Okay, so this is just our grouped by 3, and then from this I want to turn it into a table. So again, I can could just edit that formula there, but I'm just going to go right click, insert step after, or I could have just clicked let me do that. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to just come up here. You could just write it around this formula, but I'm just going to click the FX again. Okay. And we want to get table. I want to create a table from the rows. There we go, table from rows. Shift down, Shift 9, right arrow or end, press enter. And there's your solution, right? Just a couple of lines of code, which is pretty cool. Now, you could just manually rename these columns, or you could be a bit fancy. Let me just save typing this in. I'm just going to copy this little thing. Hold on a second. Right, here we go. You could just type in a name of another row, like this. That's how you'd type in the name of another row. Okay, these are the column names as any. Okay, so these are the column names here. Press enter. Oh, sorry. Go to the end, press enter, and there's your column names. And then you can just change the data types. Pretty cool. All right, if you're wondering about any of these elements, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks to everybody for their awesome suggestions. All right, I'll catch you in the next video. Before you go, check out one of my other videos or playlists and click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.